Hey jugglers, I'm Bailey Cichon. I'm a new juggler and I have a lot of questions. The 441 is where I talk to longtime members of the juggling community to get answers to those questions. And you're listening to part 2 of the 441 on the art of the juggling video. If you haven't listened to part 1, that's actually going to be a bulk of my conversation with our guests, Tim Airwalker, Lisa Ellipse, and Taylor Glenn. So definitely listen to that. This is really just picking up where the conversation left off. And this part of the conversation focuses on advice for people who want to make juggling videos of their own. So without further ado, let's get back to our conversation. What advice do you guys have for jugglers who want to start creating videos and posting them?
Do it is what I would say. We talked a lot about like how intimidating and stuff it is, but I think that at the end of the day, like if you can just film something and post it, that's how you get better at it. Also, it's nice now that we do have things like Instagram and TikTok and like these shorter form things. So even though it's more intimidating in a lot of ways than like old school YouTube, it's less intimidating in that it's short, it's quick. You might not get seen, which is kind of nice in some ways. And just start playing and posting stuff. If you want to get into, unique film stuff and like try to make better videos beyond just sharing your juggling, yeah, watch some people that you're interested in, try to emulate them. I think that that's a fairly common thing. It's what filmmakers do, it's what jugglers do. Look at a technique and be like, how do I make that? How do I do something similar? But don't be afraid to actually share this stuff. And it's such a great snapshot as well. Like Tim said, like a diary of how you've gotten good over the years. I love that I can see back when I was not good at juggling, or like I posted pretty late even into my juggling, but when I was much worse than I am now, and that's so nice. So it, find a reason to do it for yourself and just do it without being too afraid of what people are going to say. Hopefully, honestly, for the beginning, most people aren't going to see it anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think even just getting out and filming stuff and like even if you don't post it, maybe also like watching like what you've done and watch it from like different points of view. So I found that like I would watch a video I've made and just look at the tricks that I'm doing, then I watch it again and be like the composition, like how can I improve lighting, and then cross referencing it to things I'd been learning. So just kind of being like quite critical, but not necessarily only on like the juggling skills, but also like why did I make those decisions? Could I do something better next time? I think it's good to always kind of like self-reflect. But then I suppose like not get in a loop with it and not ever post anything is good to do as well. Another thing that's really helped me is just watching like a bunch of tutorials, like anything that I'm like, how did they do that? I'll hunt it down and figure out like where the tutorial is to teach me that and then practice it as well. So that's how you can improve on maybe more advanced editing and filming.
Yeah, there's like that added benefit, like whenever you're like recording yourself, you can actually like just watch it back, and not only will you like get better at filming with like filming composition and finding different lighting and different angles, but like you also get to see the trick and how it looks, and maybe you'll notice like these small little things in your own movement or in somebody else's movement. You can actually like look back at it and it'll make you a better juggler kind of faster, more efficient, in my opinion at least. But the main advice I'd probably give to like a beginner juggler who's trying to like film and post, I would just say like sucking at something is always going to be the first step, so just don't be afraid of that, because you do gotta have to go through like the bad, the cringe to get to the good stuff. Like I feel like a lot of like the craziest, weirdest, coolest videos that we've seen probably started out with like this really cringe idea in the beginning, but like if you keep working through it, there's probably like if you chisel away at it, like there's something good in there. There's like really, really good stuff. So, and also like everybody's uniquely themselves. So if you don't post, there won't be another you to post and to give a new perspective to juggling. Like I can't give the perspective of an IJA director or Taylor who's been doing YouTube, but I can give my own perspective from doing parkour for so long and then coming into this whole new world and trying to provide the community with my own POV. And hopefully that'll allow newer jugglers to like see what's going on and they can like take that and then add that to their whole life experience. And then we just keep building on each other as a whole community and then juggling grows and flourishes.
There's a tip as well, like when it comes to editing that I was told like at the very start that really shaped my editing, like really was a big deal, was that if in doubt, cut it. That really helped me. It's like a kind of intuition thing, like tapping into it, where it's just like, if just you have this like slightest nagging feeling, just remove it. And that really, really helped my editing a lot. Because I think like the theory behind it was like, if you have this nagging feeling or this intuition about it, then the people watching it probably, there might be people who have that amplified, and just to cut it out basically. And then after that, like I really felt a big improvement. Like sometimes I'd be editing and just something just goes on like even like half a second too long, a second too long. I'm like, okay, cut it. Don't think about it, just cut it. That really helped me.
I'd also say, like, if you're having a hard time, like, obviously, if you're just getting into filming, then just do, like, try and do some stuff. But if you're one of those people who's like, how do I, like, elevate it and go beyond just, like, I made a dinky compilation on YouTube. How do I make it, like, a good compilation? Obviously, like, the juggling itself is always going to help. But I think start playing around with things like obviously backgrounds. When I think back on like my progression, I think that just changing up the backgrounds and playing around with angles and stuff like that. And then you can play around with like lighting. And I can see this throughout my YouTube and see like the first one is just one static shot in one place. And then the next one's maybe the same location, but I'm like changing the camera a little bit. And then the next one is same-ish location, but I'm changing the backgrounds. And then it just progressed from there of like, then I'm playing around with lighting and then I'm playing around with really different backgrounds and totally different locations. And then it's like really crazy angles from above and things like that. And then it gets into like, I think it's really fun to do kind of what Tim was talking about. It's one of my favorite things to do is to kind of have like a theme. And I think that that's a really good way to make like a really interesting in-depth video is think of something that like something you want to express or something that you just want to wrap it around like airbending and firebending, and then you can develop interesting things in your video around that, like Tim said, with like then I found backgrounds that would fit that and I found tricks that would fit that. Like that's such a great way to create a blueprint for yourself so that it's less intimidating of like, what do I do? Think of something like that. Like for me, I made the Tricks of the Month video as well, and I went into it with like I wanted it to have this theme of like, for me it was like depression and how much that is frustrating, and then I just kind of played around with like lighting of how that would feel, and then I started thinking about the different types of tricks and the different phases of that feeling, and it just helped make that so much more manageable. So it doesn't have to be crazy complex, but just having some sort of structure can really help your creativity flow a lot.
I liked what you said about the perspective changes of like you're creating a world. What people see on the screen, it provides context to where you are. And the more, even if you're just shifting your shot a little bit, like giving more context to the space that you're in helps people feel more connected to it. I I think about this sometimes in my journalistic work, which is kind of, I don't know, it can be a little like, I don't want to say boring, but it's pretty straightforward. But if you have a stand up where you're on camera at the start of the shot, you want to come back at the end, but you don't want to be in the same place. You want to show them a different part of the same place that you're in, and it helps them feel like we went somewhere with the video. We didn't start and stop in the same place, if that makes sense. So I also would say, like, if you're just starting to film, keep your shots really wide. You can bring it in post, especially if you're shooting in 4K. Like, it's pretty, like, you're not going to lose quality. Yeah, you can do a lot in post. And Lisa, like you do a lot of transitions and you have a lot of movement in your work. Is a lot of that in post as well?
I think, yeah, it depends on like what kind of transition that I'd planned. Some of it would be like more in camera or like getting the jugglers to come in, come out, or throw their props. And then some of it is like heavily in post. The transitions, like the TikTok transitions, they're all like very heavy in post. So they're like kind of like filming for like 15 minutes and then like doing like 10 hours of the edit, and then something went slightly wrong, so redoing everything again type thing. So it can be like 20-30 hour edits for these like 30-second or less videos. So those transitions are really long. A lot of post goes into those, which is kind of why I'm not really doing them anymore. I don't have time. So yeah, depending on what kind of thing I'm going for. I really like in-camera transitions as well, and trying to link the shots by using movement with the camera or props as well.
Yeah. I was also going to say, I think similar to what Bailey was saying with adding context and like making people feel like they're there by just changing up the shot a little bit. I think similarly that applies with like you as a person. It's like what Tim said of like your perspective is not on the internet, you know, it's not out there. And so as many ways as you can to like embrace that. I think everyone here is really good at that, like showing you as a person. Like I can do the same exact trick as Tim, but the way everything from the way I film and edit it, sure, but also just like me as a person is going to be different. So I see a lot of jugglers at the beginning try to cut some of that stuff out, like the little mistakes or the smiles or the faces, and like all of those are things that are going to help your audience feel more there because you're a real human and you're not just a robot juggling a thing. So don't be afraid to include, obviously I include drops all the time. I think everyone has included stuff like that. Yeah, just even just like smiles and faces, you can do the you setting up the camera, like all of those things just make people feel more like they're there and less like they're watching some cold video on the internet.
I think that's what I really like about your videos, Taylor, is that like because you can have the closer shots, the personalities coming through. When I compare that to like hoop juggling, I always want the hoop like the personality to come through more, and I find it so hard because I'm like, we're so far away. I just love that, like, yeah, I wish I could film hoop juggling closer. But yeah, just setting up cameras, I agree, like all that those kind of things. But just the fact that ball juggling can be like that, it's just so much more personality. It's so good.
It is really nice that I can be so close, and
Yeah.
like in terms of just a quick framing tip in general, if you're newer to it, like don't cut off the top of whatever juggling it is because it's going to really make the brain upset. So just keep that in frame, and ideally like, you know, the hands as well, but like a lot of my stuff is called cowboy shot, like it's from middle of the leg up, because I don't need to see my feet. You just need to see the pattern, so you can play around with that a bit. It's harder with things like hoops because they go to your feet. But even in your video, Lisa, like the one with in the abandoned place, you are adding so much great variety with the location. The location itself is actually shining a lot as its own
Yeah.
character. Yeah. But then also you do a lot of close-ups. Like you guys have, if it was just wides of you guys doing like crazy high passing patterns, it wouldn't work. But
No,
because then you like cut to you doing the like Bramson rolls, and
yeah.
even just the way you're doing it, where you're like holding it and you can see your face in those, and you're like hand throwing them to, and so yeah, it's like it's not as obvious and as close, but you can tell that it's in there, and that is important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think mixing the tricks and thinking about it gives the personality. And I definitely agree about the height thing. So like when we're filming hoop juggling, I'll always sacrifice like the feet and not the top of the pattern. It's just like if something's really not fitting in and we've already gone back as far as possible, then I'm like, as long as the top of the hoops are in, it's fine.
Yeah, if the focus is the juggling, if for some reason the focus is like you being adorable, then it doesn't matter, you know. Like I think Tim, actually you do some amazing great personality work in your videos where it just you'll, you know, you'll catch a thing and then you'll cut in and you'll just be like, you know, like it's so good.
I think for those, I usually am shooting still a little bit wider, and I just trust my editing self because my editing self is a different person entirely. And I'm just like, okay, editor, you're gonna have to handle this one in post. But usually I try and overshoot a little bit. But yeah, I do like to like play around a lot. Like the whole point of this is to have fun. At least for me, it is. So
Do you feel like your personality on video is different than real life?
it's definitely enhanced, but only by like 10-20% ish. But like, usually like in real life, I'm very like chill and mellow. But then once I'm on camera, I take whatever potential energy I have in me and then I toss it on. But it's still like me and authentically me. It's just that like sometimes like when you're on video, you just got to be a little bit bigger to like fill the fill the space of it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do y'all change like personality-ish?
I think mine's similar. Like it's me, but it's a slightly changed version of me, whether it's like a little goofier or a little maybe like a little more confident in certain if I'm making a tutorial or something. Uh yeah. So apparently I have like a voice when I'm filming that people will be like, "Oh, it's your Taylor Trice voice." I'm like, sorry. It's just different. It's what works. But yeah, but I think it is still me, like you said, it's still honest because otherwise I don't think it would work very well. It needs to be people are pretty good at smelling BS. Like they want authenticity. But yeah, I'm definitely hiding a bit behind a character as well because I don't think I would be. But it's also what makes it really hard for me to film with other people. So like I found that if I'm filming like a video by myself, I'm great and I have the like adorable quirkiness that I have in my character. If somebody else is in the room with me, I get just super self-conscious and weird and which is funny because I think other people I've seen have that same relationship with just the camera. Like the camera turns on and they get all uncomfortable and weird. I feel very comfortable with the camera, but if you're in the room with me, I'm gonna freak out. Yeah. How about you, Lisa? Do you have like a different vibe?
I think just filming juggling tricks, I kind of just feel like I just want to get the trick. It's not really any different. If I have to talk to the camera, I feel like similar to you, like I have a different kind of voice, maybe. Um, I definitely just feel like more like I'm performing if I'm just doing juggling tricks. So just that I'm on stage, but I'm like in front of the camera. I don't feel too different though. And maybe if there's other people around, I might get like a bit more stressed out about getting it quicker. But yeah. Or if someone's filming me, that's stressful. The tripod, that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys have favorite accounts or favorite videographer, like juggling videographers that you want to shout out that you recommend people watch?
Ricardo S. Mendez is probably the GOAT. It's the top. That's where I'm aiming right now. Just to get like that high quality, that consistently, that often. That is that's the goals. If we're talking about purely like social media content and filmography and artistry and creativity, all like coagulated into like this one beautiful work of art, that's where it is for me. That answer came really quick.
He's so good. Yeah, I love Ricardo. I think Liza Van Brockel or whatever. Also, they're like videos, like YouTube stuff that they've made is just great. I don't know. It's hard to say because a lot of the time, like the really great cinem cinematographic, that's a word, right? Videos that jugglers make, they're not the ones making them. Like somebody made them for them. Bosch still makes incredible stuff that's gorgeous and his filmmaking stuff, his collaborations with that have just gotten so much even better since that video that we looked at. Like he inspires me a lot. Um, and I'd say Tim, I really like Tim's stuff. It's so, it's like when I watch your stuff, Tim, I'm like, I don't even I could not make this. Like, it's not a filming thing. It's a perspective thing, and it's like a personality thing, and it's so intimidating to me, but in a good way. Like, it's awesome. It's inspiring. But yeah, all sorts of. I don't watch enough stuff. I will admit anymore. I used to.
The same here. I don't watch a whole lot of stuff. I'm trying to get better at it because everybody keeps like they're like, you don't know this juggler X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, and then they like show it to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm slowly like experiencing more of the community. But I still it's so many videos. It's so hard to keep up with everything all the time.
That I missed that about old YouTube as well. There like because there was like 10 to 15 jugglers. You knew when a video came out. It was not hard. Now it's like I can't even remember all of the jugglers I like, let alone remember to look at their posts.
Lisa, some accounts that you love and you want to share?
Yeah, I definitely. I've always been really inspired by Lewis Kennedy and his videography and editing and all the projects that him and Ivan are doing. But not just that, but like I suppose a mixture of like he's done some really cool like edits of like a gala shows at conventions, and just managed to create the transitions like really nicely between like in camera transitions and in post as well. Just made it flow really really nicely, and really great videography. And then older projects like Juggle Vision were just like so fun. I think one of the episodes I'm like a zombie, which is just really fun to also be part of as well. Like I made like yeah, I was just a zombie, and I made all like the set for it as well. And he just does a really good mix of like juggling videos for other people, and also just projects like documentaries, game shows, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Lewis is a big inspiration.
This was an awesome conversation. Let's just do this every month. We'll come back.
Just talk video.
We've come to the end of our episode, and typically what I do is I write out like a little script of some talking points, but I kind of want to free flow with you. And I want to shout out eJuggle here for a second. Remember what our guests literally just said. You have this unique perspective, and until you put it out there, it's not out in the world. If you are listening to the 441 or any other juggling podcast, or any other podcast for that matter, and you're thinking, man, I want to do that, I would draft up a pitch and I would send it to the eJuggle editor, Eric Shibuya, and talk through your idea, because there is space for everybody in the podcasting world. If you don't know what eJuggle is, it is the official publication of the International Jugglers Association. There's podcasts like the 441. There's articles, there's Tricks of the Month videos, all kinds of great online content. And if you are itching to share your perspective, reach out. There is room for you. Thank you to the International Jugglers Association and eJuggle for their continued support. This is a really big milestone for the podcast, because back when I pitched it, I had envisioned a 6-episode first season. We've crushed that goal, and now we're going to take a look back and see what went well, what our goals are for the future, and then come back strong for hopefully another 6 episodes. Who knows what the future holds? Speaking of that, looking back on this podcast, wow, we talked a lot about teaching and a lot about learning. And I wanted to share with you that in February 2025, I began teaching piano lessons, which should come as no surprise, because every episode that talked about learning had like little reflections of me talking about my life experiences as a musician. So I think it only makes sense that I have embarked on teaching piano. I'm having a blast, learning a lot and using a lot of the things I learned from fellow jugglers. I also want to say thank you to our sponsors, Modern Vaudeville Press, who's been with us since day one, and Jake Darrow for making various pieces of this production possible. Modern Vaudeville Press is a boutique publishing company that specializes in nonfiction books about circus. You can find their full catalog at modernvaudevillepRess.com. You can stay connected with the 441 on Instagram at the 441 Juggling Podcast. Hope to see your notification pop through. That brings us to the end of the 441 on the art of the juggling video. I'm Bailey Cichon.